Hey guys, Chandler here, back on my channel Alternate Journey, and today I'm going to be reacting to a news article that actually Fox News posted for Pride Month, I'm assuming. This 2 weeks ago, this came out. I know I'm a little slow at reacting to things, I have a busy schedule, but I still wanted to react to this because, as you guys have probably seen all over the internet, people talking about Ben Shapiro's and Matt Walsh's reaction to this. Basically, they're mad. You know, the Republicans are mad about this. They're like, they feel betrayed by Fox News and stuff. I personally did not watch this video yet. I don't even know what they really say, but I'm guessing it's an alright video for us in the community, I guess. Maybe Fox News is going forward. Who knows? But anyways, I am not gonna be reacting to the tweets that Ben or Matt posted. Basically, they're saying that this is about grooming and all this shit and, like, you know, the gay trans agenda, basically, they're talking about. And I'm not gonna showcase their tweets because I don't like showcasing false information, but also, like, I'm kind of sick and tired of, like, reacting to the same bullshit from them, honestly, because they just keep on repeating themselves. And I wanted to actually share the true story of Raising Ryland. So yeah, you guys can look up what they said if you guys want to. It's all over Twitter, probably even on just a Google search you can find the tweets as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna be, Remy, really? No, you can't, what'd I say? You can't film with me. I need to film. My viewers are mad at me. I don't film that much, Remy.
During this Pride Month, KTVU has been highlighting the issues facing the LGBTQ community. And this morning, we share the story of Rylan Whittington. Reporter Brian Yennis has more on how the California teenager's transitioning journey is helping other families.
If you saw me walking down the street, you wouldn't think anything different.
14-year-old Rylan Whittington is a typical Southern California teenager. And the Whittingtons, along with mom Hillary, dad Jeff, and sister Brinley, are a typical family. The only difference, though, in Ryland's eyes, is what this family can mean to the tens of thousands of kids under 18 who identify as transgender.
We put our story out there so people could see that, like, there's another family out there that is going through what we're going through, or there's another family who's proud of who they are.
Before Ryland could even speak, he managed to tell his parents that he is a boy.
I could just see that it wasn't him trying to be a brat. It was like painful. It was truly painful for him to have to wear feminine clothing and for us constantly telling him that you're a girl.
And unlike some trans kids, when Ryland came out at age 5 a few years later, he had the full support of his parents.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I hated wearing dresses. My mom would not really necessarily force me and everything, but, like, you know, certain occasions, like, you just kind of, like, had to wear dresses, or, like, I felt like I had to. Maybe if I voiced it, she wouldn't, like, really care, because, honestly, looking back, I pretty much lived in a genderless household, kind of, like, no gender stereotypes were really put on us in any way. You know, my mom kind of, like, let us do whatever we wanted. Not like we were babies, like, we each had pronouns that was, like, assigned to us from what we were born as. But, like, you know, graduations and stuff, I wore a dress. Concerts, you had to wear dresses. Hated doing that and stuff. The only time that I didn't mind wearing a dress was, like, Grateful Dead concerts that we would go to, because, like, those are nice tie-dye, flowy dresses that's, like, that literally anyone can wear and looks awesome in. Especially at fucking Dead shows, let's be honest. Like, I probably saw men in dresses at Dead shows. A lot of shirtless guys in skirts, honestly. I remember that a lot. That's cute that they, like, listen to him, though. Like, listen to his discomfort. Because, like, any kid that they voice what they're discomfortable about. It has, like, no rhyme or reason. It just is. Like, certain kids don't like certain things just because they don't like it. Like, just like you don't like certain things or certain clothing and stuff. Why? Because you just don't. It doesn't look right on you. It doesn't feel comfortable on you. And kids can voice the same thing. I feel like people forget that, like, kids actually do have feelings and stuff like that. Yes, their brains aren't necessarily developed like us, but, like, they still know about feelings, and they're trying to process their feelings and try to voice it as much as they can. And yes, it sounds childlike just because that's their vocabulary at that time. So it's like, this is completely normal. Just like if, like, a girl was like, I don't like the color purple. It's literally the same thing of, like, someone being like, I don't like wearing the color purple. Why? Because she doesn't like wearing the color purple. Are you going to force her to wear the color purple? No, because she doesn't like it. I mean, sure, maybe some things will have like a tiny bit of purple in it, but she'll be fine with it maybe if like it's majority of the outfit is her favorite color. You know what I mean? So like, it's like that. You're like introducing things to try to find the comfortability of your child. So...
Initially, there was some pushback from us in trying to understand this.
We were confused like most people are. We thought that gender and sexuality were the same thing. It took us a while to figure out that those two things are different and that children actually do recognize their gender identity very young. Some of them, not all.
But they listened to Rylan and to Hillary's conservative faith.
For me, it's just a deep spiritual belief that...
But I think that was the biggest thing that Matt and Ben was saying, was that this was grooming because the parents were making their child transition before he could really speak. No, they just said in that case, yes, Rylan started to show signs around age 3 and started to voice some things, like, you know, he was fussy when trying to put a dress on him and stuff, and whatever. But, like, he didn't actually start coming out until he was 5 years old, once, like, vocabulary, like, really starts to take off in a child and stuff like that. So it's like, no, they weren't actually transitioning him when he was 3 years old. And in fact, they're not really transitioning him at 5 years old. It's more of a social transition. They're not saying anything about putting him on hormones and stuff like that at 5 years old. Because one, you don't even have to put them on hormone blockers at 5 years old. Literally, you don't have to do anything medically transition-wise to a child because all children are essentially... basically non-binary in a sense, you know, until puberty hits and then what they were born as, AFAB or AMAB, that's when those sexual functions start to really develop and puberty starts to occur. And that's when, like, the discussion with the child, with the parents, with doctors about possible medical transitioning steps for that individual, whatever feels right to that individual, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and of course there's going to be like a doctor there and everything like that that is knowledgeable within all the side effects of it. So it's just like, it's not grooming when there's literally a step-by-step process that the child is also involved in, and also the child is taking lead on. The child brought this to their attention. So it's not grooming. It's like they're just listening to the child. And first off, they said that they pushed back in the beginning anyways. Like they didn't really believe him. Because that's the first step, is that like a lot of people don't even know what gender is. They just mix it up with sex all the time. And like the reality is, sex and gender is so completely different. Everyone needs to fucking realize that. Do your freaking research on it. Like, it literally doesn't even take that long.
You believe in God and he, you know, created us the way he wanted us. Well, then yes, he created Rylan just the way he is.
And they listened to families. They met in support groups.
There was a father who was sitting across the table. He says, "You have no idea how lucky you are to be here," which kind of took me back. I didn't at that point consider myself lucky to be there. And he said, you know, our child had displayed this gender dysphoria or this gender misalignment at the same age that Rylan has. And we didn't listen, and we pushed back.
That pushback led that child to turn to self-harm as a teenager, which 60% of trans and non-binary kids engage in, according to the Trevor Project. More than 50% consider.
Within the LGBTQ plus community, transgender and non-binary individuals are more likely to consider suicide than cisgender individuals. But like, if they have just parental support, literally that number goes significantly down for the transgender non-binary individuals. Even more down than if cisgender individual in the LGBTQ plus community had support, like family support. It's so significant how much support really matters in this. That guy was saying, like, they went to group therapies and stuff like that, which is honestly, like, applause to these parents, because it's like they literally did what was right. Like, yes, they kind of pushed back at first. I think that's like the initial response that most parents do, because they're afraid of like the possible like horrors of it all, of transitioning, but also of what society views it as and stuff, and also what it views them as parents as well. And you know, I understand that, but then they kind of like looked back in their faith and was like, you know what, God made him this way, which like, that's awesome to hear that, because a lot of people view it as like this is God's test of a sin. I don't know, I heard so many different ways people try to explain this within religious aspects and stuff, but like, no, they went to they started with like kind of socially transitioning him by using he him pronouns, by calling him Rylan, by putting him in more masculine male boy clothes and stuff. They went to group therapies to talk to other families that was going through the same situation, and it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, they're doing this for Ryland. It has nothing to do about anyone else, because it's Ryland's life. It's literally about whether or not Ryland lives on, because they'd rather have a living son than a dead daughter. And I feel like when you break it down like that, anyone else would say the same exact fucking thing. And if you don't, then you shouldn't have kids in the first place.
Suicide.
That for me was the turning point. I didn't want to see Ryland go through that.
I'd rather have a living son than a dead daughter. I guarantee that if we had pushed back and done what a lot of parents do, I don't think that we would have either one of the kids that you see before you here today.
Allowing him to live authentically and true to himself and be who he really feels like he is. When you get to know Ryland, you see just how proud and confident he is of himself.
Ryland's story got international attention in 2014 when a family YouTube video went viral, and Hillary has since written a book called Raising Ryland.
I never thought that I would be known for this like as well as I am, but really it's just a small part of who I am.
Kind of weird being known as being trans. Like, I understand what he's kind of saying, that safe factor, because it's like, I'm not. He's definitely more famous than I am in many regards. He's on Fox News. He probably has like a lot of people. He probably has a YouTube channel. I mean, his mom wrote a book. But yeah, it's weird having people like know you for being trans, because it's like, it's a weird thing, because it's like, yes, we like showcasing our life story and stuff like that for other people to see, like, hey, there's other people like you and stuff like that, but also as an educational standpoint to being like, oh, this is what transitioning is and stuff. Here's like my transition story for comparison, not really comparison, but like for reference. There you go, for reference and stuff. But like, yeah, it's weird because it's like being trans, it's like, it's not really the main part of you at all. Just like how people back in the day was like, oh, just like finding out someone's gay, and they made that their whole personality was like, oh, he's just the gay guy or something. It's like, no one likes being called, oh, well, that's just like the trans guy or something, or trans girl. And it's like, yeah, but there's more to that individual. Like, you don't break someone down based off their gender or sex. Like, that's pretty weird. Like, I understand what he's saying, but like at the same time, you shouldn't feel bad about it, because it's like, you know what, there needs to be more younger individuals sharing about this and stuff like that, especially within this case, because people are scared about hearing cases of the fact that children now know their gender. It's just because it's being voiced more. Kids know, or at least heard of the word transgender. I didn't at that age. I didn't know what trans was until I was like 16, 17. Literally. That's sad. I mean, yes, I did live and I did grow up in a poor family, and we didn't have internet access and stuff like that, but still, I went to a public school and stuff like that, so it's like, all my friends had internet and shit, so it's like, yeah, me being 20, basically almost 24 now, and the knowledge I have, if I had that knowledge that I do today, and like all that vocabulary, I would have known that I was trans at 5, 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like, even if I just knew basic what transgender was, what gender was, like gender dysphoria and all that, like, I could have like literally told my parents I was a male since then. So that's why it needs to be shared more, because it's like showcasing, like, that's why all these there's more stories about younger individuals. It has nothing to do about grooming. It's not parents being like, well, I wanted a son, so let's just put all this male stereotypical stuff down this young child's throat to make them into a son.
He just brushes things off his shoulders, like it's fine. He moves on in his life, and he's just kind of, I think everything we've been through, he's just like learned to do that, and he's really good at it. I could never do that.
The Whittingtons believe sharing their story could make a lasting difference in another child's life, something they learned from that support group father nearly a decade ago.
I'm just here to make the ride smoother for others. You might be struggling right now, but we believe in you, this family. We might not know you, we might not know where you live, but, you know, we understand you and we believe in you.
What extraordinary courage displayed by Ryland, his mother Hillary, father Jeff, and sister Brinley. I want to thank the Whittington family for speaking to us. It's not easy, particularly when transgender issues have been so politicized. You know, people are afraid of what they often do not understand. The family hopes their story will lead to more understanding, more acceptance, and ultimately, more love. In New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
And you know what? We all thank you, Brian. Thank you for sharing this story and everything. You probably lost your job from Fox News, but you know what? It was worth it. He'll probably say it was worth it. I don't know. I'm not going to look up if this guy still has a job, because I'm not really that interested in Fox News, honestly. But you know what? Thank you, man. That was an awesome story. That was actually positive. They really did no negative spin on it. The guy that was actually reporting it sounded pretty, like, enthused about it and anything like that. Well, as enthused as news anchors can be, or showcase. Yeah, transgender rights are literally being politicized for no fucking reason. And it's just like, all the tweets from fucking Benny Boy and Mr. Human Centipede himself is just, they're just mad. They're big mad. They're angry that, you know, people are trying to understand gender versus sex and stuff like that. What is a woman? And, yeah, they're just mad that people are becoming more knowledgeable about it and that kids understand it more than them. So, yeah, no, I don't think there was any grooming involved with this. The parents just did what was right for Ryland. They just actually listened to their child. That was, like, literally the key thing that they did. They listened to their child, they did the right steps. There was no talk about actually medically transitioning. Hell, we don't even know if Rylan at 14 is on testosterone right now or anything like that. It doesn't matter. We don't need to know his medical transition at all, because you know what? That's his body. That's his right to choose what he goes through. And you know what? It's working out for him. Honestly, like Benny Boy and Mr. Human Centipede should honestly calm down, because like that video was only like, what, 4 minutes and 17 seconds? Throughout the year, Fox News always posts about detransition stories or something about, about passing laws of having transgender kids not play sports and stuff, and those segments are literally like 6 minutes long, 7 minutes long. So honestly, I think you can spare the 4 minutes of time to showcase a little pride, even fake a little pride. You know what I mean? We're used to companies doing that, but you know what? This actually felt genuine from that reporter and stuff like that, and it was a great story. And I hope they continue actually progressing in that. And I mean, I'm not expecting a transgender, like a positive transgender story every month, but you know, this was great progress by that reporter at least. Hopefully he still has a job, and yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Like I said, you guys can look up the tweets if you guys want to. I'm just saying no to that negative energy right now. You know, fuck it. I mean, if you guys want me to react to some anti-transgender things, obviously, comment that down below. I can make a whole video on that. Whenever I do that, like, I need to get in the mindset of it, so. Look at the statistics. If you find yourself watching multiple of my videos, might as well subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell down below so you get notifications whenever I upload. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.